Hey everybody, JJ here, back again with another Wednesday of Zoom networking. And man, always talking about excellent guest speakers. Maybe it's because I guess I have an excellent circle of awesome friends. But the young man that we have on today is one of the true rock stars in Pace Morby Sub 2 community, highly respected, extremely knowledgeable, intelligent, personable, and tall. He's a really good guy. I want you to just, he's a father, he's a husband, family man. Like the rest of us, he started as a student, became an investor, now a very successful entrepreneur, and highly regarded, throughout the country from coast to coast. My good friend, Caleb Christopher. Caleb, how are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me on.
Oh man, it's my pleasure. I'm awesome that we get to experience your new studio.
Yeah, I got new lights over here and over here. And now, once you get your high def camera and the lights, now you got to get makeup. So now I got a makeup kit on my desk. So,
There
I
you
mean,
go. There you
you
go.
never knew that before. I didn't know that until I was like, oh, whoa,
Yeah,
cover some stuff up, you know?
just remind me to turn my little light on here.
It's
Yeah.
good seeing you at Squat Up Summit, though. I always love those events because I work this is a flipping basement, you know? It's like I love going to those events and shaking hands with people. And I think one of my favorite things about Squat Up was I took my family and the number of people that stopped my kids while they were wearing my logo saying, I know your dad. He's helped me save a deal. He helped me make extra money on things. Like I watch his videos all the time. Like that sort of stuff was feedback I needed my kids to see. So it was really cool.
That's awesome. How old are your kids?
12, 8, 5, and 3.
There you go. There you go. So hey, for those that haven't spoken to you, met you, or know much about you, where in the country are you located?
I live in Kansas City on the Kansas side, since everyone asks.
Aha. We've got a couple people in the group here in Kansas.
Ah, okay.
Paul Martin, who's not here yet, but I'd love to connect you to Paul Martin. Um, so let's talk a little bit, not too much about your background, but we met through Sub 2. What did you do before you were a real estate investor?
Ooh, what didn't I do? I get a lot of that though. I came from cybersecurity, the most recent. Before that, I was an IT administrator.
Wow.
And before that, I was in prison for 5.5 years,
There you go.
working working as a guard.
As a guard, let's clarify. So
And then before that, my first job was residential construction. Actually, my first job was McDonald's. Who doesn't have that one? But yeah,
yeah,
residential construction on rehabs and finish ups.
there you go. Yeah, my first job was scooping ice cream at Swenson's ice cream parlor.
There you go.
Yeah,
Pansies.
yeah.
Yeah, not in prison as a, the difference in some of the guards though and the inmates was that some of the guards just hadn't been caught. So it wasn't a great place to work.
It's like everything else. Yeah, life has that story. So, how'd you come about Pace and Sub 2? Were you doing real estate much before that, or was that your foray into real estate?
Yeah, so if you don't know what an accidental landlord for the audience, an accidental landlord is when somebody can't sell their house and they just have to rent it out. That's what happened to me in 2019. And thank God I had a good loan officer who helped me understand what I could and couldn't do. But I really didn't understand real estate before. I grew up with my parents owning a rental house. And so I was like, all right, well, if I got to do that, I got to do that. Because I was getting the house, the one I'm in now is next door to my in laws, and it's fantastic. I've got 2 acres, they've got 7 acres. My kids run back and forth. We have a great time. But
You got,
accidental landlord is a thing.
I was
And
gonna say you've got babysitters when you need them, right? Of
oh yeah, I try not to take advantage of that, but
course
it's
not.
it's pretty great. And
Yeah,
I've got a shooting range in my backyard. Like the house was very desirable. Location, location, location. I cannot tell you enough about location is important. So after that point, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I was like, oh, thank God I didn't sell that house.
yeah,
Right now, I've got something building equity and working toward. It wasn't very profitable at the time, but long term, it's a great investment to just hold, even as a single retirement account. But then I
yeah,
wanted more.
yeah. Were you going through bigger pockets or
Yeah, everybody at that time, Bigger Pockets was the thing. So I listened to all their podcasts while I was mowing my yard, started saving money for a flip property, discovered Pace, consumed all of his content online at the time. And then I was like, I called in, I was like, take my money. Take my money. I want all the secret sides. He's an excellent salesman. He gives a lot of value away, but he's also an excellent salesman. And by the time I got to the point where I consumed everything. I was like, I know there's a lot more on the other side of that paywall. Let me in. Let me in.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So when we start, in Sub 2, I know when I started, now they've got all these avatars, and I don't even know all the avatars.
Yep.
I know I'm a connector. That's about all I know. But when I started, 4 years ago, there was the five acquisitions manager, dispo manager, TC, the back end programming. I'm forgetting the word right now, and
Integrator.
integrator and the visionary. And so in the beginning, we all kind of wear all the hats. Did you wear all the hats? And I know we'll talk about which avenue you chose, which obviously, the TC. But how did you maneuver that in the beginning when you had all the different options in front of you?
You just got to pick and stick. I mean, before he said stick with something for 90 days, I mean, it's very intimidating to see like 15 different strategies and try to pick one. And I just talked about this the other day, like at Squat Up Summit, the Owners Club group had Jordan Peterson talk, and he said the best rest is a nourishing vision. I tend to get restless when I don't have something I'm pursuing, and I really felt that when he said that, because the best rest is a nourishing vision. Vision means that as long as I have something, I've got a path I'm on. The distractions are just distractions. Even if I go off on the wrong path for a minute, I know which way I'm headed back to, and I know what to be doing. And it's also having that nourishing vision, having something you're pursuing makes it okay to say no to other things. And so it is very difficult to pick and stick, but you got to give something enough runway to take off if it's going to take off. And so interviewing people, finding out what they like and don't like, honestly, about the different paths. Do you want to be a wholesaler or just a buyer? Do you want to keep your W 2? Why did you quit your W 2? Like, how much savings did you have? What went well? What went wrong? Interview people. But that's a great way to build relationships. People love talking about themselves, and you can learn a lot by asking questions.
There you go, guys. Big note. So, I guess you were at Squad Up, so obviously you've been paced on numerous occasions. Now, tell us about your TC company. How did that come about?
Man, I started Creative TC because I did all the training and learned how to get people to say yes to a deal. I'm not the maximum salesperson, but I build relationships and I want to solve problems for people. And so I talked myself into a couple of sub two deals. And when I got those into escrow, there wasn't TCs around. The one that I knew of was unresponsive, and I didn't have any guidance, and nobody was able to share SOPs or any of that stuff. And for me, it was a lack of like ethical guidance on what are the legalities and what's the right way to do it. Technically legal versus ethical are two different things, and that guidance wasn't there. And I'm like looking around, like how many other people are getting into deals, either not asking or not even able to get answers to these questions. And if nobody else knows the answers, I'm going to go figure it out and I'm going to share it with the group. And so I started Creative TC, not because I wanted to be a TC. Caleb does not want to be a TC, by the way, you guys. I like learning the what, but I thrive on the how, and so I wanted to figure out all the details, and so I started a company to figure all that stuff out and help people navigate safely and ethically through these creative finance deals.
That's awesome. Hey, so you've got experience in the transactions and knowing all the ins and the out.
Yeah,
Um, your topic today, which is I think phenomenal topic, is defeating due on sale, and that's often
yeah,
referred to as the due on sale clause. So we've got people that are new to the call today or watching on YouTube weeks and months down the line, new to real estate. What is due on sale? Is it any different from a due on sale clause? Tell us about that.
sure. So let's go back to where it exists. It exists inside of a mortgage, and let me be clear that when you get a mortgage, it's actually you giving a mortgage, right? When I say to the bank, "Hey, will you loan me $450,000?" and they're like, "Here you go." But there's some strings attached. You have to give us something back. You have to give us a mortgage. And if you think of a mortgage as the right to foreclose, it makes it a lot easier to have to understand the concept, right? The bank gives me money, I give them the right to foreclose on my house. That's how that works. In that mortgage, it contains a clause called the due on sale clause. If you transfer the house to somebody else without our approval, we can accelerate the loan, which means make it you owe it in 30 days or less. If they accelerate and you don't pay it because you transferred, now they can foreclose. So the due on sale clause, long story short, gives them the right to foreclose if you transfer it and they care and they notice and they care and they tell you and you don't pay it off.
So for simplicity's sake, to foreclose means they're going to take the house back.
they'll take it to an auction and somebody's going to buy it and you're going to lose the house.
So they give you the money, you give them the mortgage, you don't give them back the money in the agreed upon period.
Hmm.
They can what's called call the loan due.
Yep. Accelerate the loan, call it due. Yep. Those are both common terms.
And so for today's conversation due on sale, if somebody has a mortgage and they sell the property, what tells are they supposed to tell the bank or is it not allowed to do that or what's
It's kind of a ask forgiveness, not permission sort of thing. Because if you're going to ask permission, they're going to say no. And then if you do it anyway, there's a chance you can be brought up on fraud charges for misleading them on purpose. And so there's also a doctrine of efficient breach. Contract law allows a party to breach their own contract as long as it wasn't premeditated, right? You can't plan on selling the property downline to somebody else, like right after closing or something. So you have to intend to honor the contract. But once you're in, if you need to violate the contract, you can do that. That's not a criminal offense. Okay, so it's a civil offense between two parties. And so if I break the contract, guess what? They already have a clause that says if you break the contract, we can do this. And so it's all predefined. Like we already know the rules of the game. Like I told somebody else last week, it's like a game of chess. We know the rules that we have to play by. And so if I sell my property without getting the bank's permission, they may or may not notice. I don't have a duty to notify them. Then, if they do notice and if they do care, they can tell me about it and give me a chance to cure it, or they can press really hard on the foreclosure button.
so of all the mortgages that are out there, some of them get sold. Is that what we're looking at? And of those that get sold, sometimes the bank will then approach
Yes. Some of
the
them get sold without paying off the mortgage. So if I take my house and put it on the MLS and a retail buyer comes in, they're going to get a new loan, which pays off my old loan. There's no harm, no foul. Nobody cares. That's normal transactions. That doesn't violate the due on sale clause. It's when I sell subject to my loan, meaning my loan stays in place and you take the deed. It's my credit still on the line, my loan is still in place, but that's a violation of the due on sale clause, which every commercial or residential loan has.
and so with some of the investment communities out there today, that's a practice that is not uncommon. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, it's growing in popularity for sure, especially as rates are up in the sixes, sevens, eights, and people still have sub 5% mortgages. I mean, these investors are buying the rate, not necessarily the house or the mortgage. Sometimes we'll overpay for a property for the sake of getting a 2.5% interest rate. My goodness, can you imagine?
So this is what it's referred to when one says, "I'm going to assume the mortgage."
Ooh, good clarification. No, this would be an informal assumption if you want to say it that way. It is not assuming. So the process of assuming a loan is when Caleb's name takes the place of JJ's names on the actual mortgage contract, and it's with the bank's approval. It takes the debt out of your name and puts it in my name if I'm your buyer. So that's an assumption. And that takes 60 to 120 days. It's subject to bank approval and blah, blah, blah. Some loans are not assumable. We're doing it, I don't want to say willy nilly. We're doing it without the bank's permission or acknowledgement. I'm just agreeing. I'm giving you a promissory note that I'm going to pay your mortgage on your behalf.
And is this done in part because the people that are wanting to acquire the lower rate might not have the funds to get a loan or have it assumed to them?
Yes, it could be credit score related. It could be available cash related for a down payment, or it could just be that it's the fastest way to scale a portfolio.
Is this a pretty common procedure to, I'll just say, well, are they defeating the due on sale clause or are they kind of sidestepping it?
They have to acknowledge that it exists. So if we're going to say defeating the due on sale clause, it's that we're able to fight it and usually win, not necessarily in court. Like if a bank wants to push hard and a judge reads the contract, they're going to say they have the right to foreclose on you because you violated the contract.
Yeah.
But we know the technical side steps to get around it most of the time. We haven't failed yet. But I have to acknowledge that it is possible that a bank wants to play hardball and we cannot win in one of these debates and technical sidestep games. It's a paperwork dance, and it's possible that we don't win. But we have fixed it multiple times. I'm in the 20s at this point.
All right. Well, that's great. That's great. So, what does one need to know about defeating due on sale?
A couple of things. So, a lot of times a wholesaler will be trying to negotiate a sub two deal or a buyer directly, direct to seller. And the I have this problem when people say, don't worry about the due on sale clause, like it's nothing. It's not nothing. It can actually be a pretty big deal. Sellers have questions about it. I don't like it when wholesalers are like, "Oh, don't worry about it," and they either lie or they dismiss or they dodge. I want people to be fully informed and to acknowledge the risks involved. So sellers and agents really need to be informed that there is a due on sale clause, that it can hurt your credit if something goes wrong or the buyer stops making payments. But if and when the due on sale clause comes up, Creative TC is able to fix due on sale clause. We have due on sale clause remediation. Okay, so that's when if you get a notice from a bank, the first thing you do is panic, then you call Creative TC and we'll talk to you. We'll understand. There's a lot of things, and I'll put a link in the side chat here. There's a lot of stuff you can do. There's like 10 different ways on my website how to resolve it, but which one is the right way depends on your situation, depends on the state you're in, what your long-term plans are, how many parties are involved. Is it just you and the seller? Is it you and the seller and your downstream owner occupant buyer? Like deals can get very complex. Have
Right.
you already taken accelerated depreciation? All this stuff has to come into play when we determine what the path to resolution is.
Wow. And you're on Caleb Christopher. What's your question?
Uh, Hi, Caleb. Yeah, I'm out of Iowa, so just to the north of you.
Okay.
So a question I've got with this due on sale clause, you had talked about technical sidesteps. What exactly are you referring to? Is that what you were talking about with Creative TC that you have solutions for those?
Yeah, and so I'm going to read some of these off my webpage, which I put in the chat there. I'm going to read some of these off the webpage with a little bit of explanation.
Okay.
So the first solution is potentially just to ignore it. I have successfully done that with a bank, and they haven't pursued foreclosure. It was a long story short. The seller is aware of it, and the seller was not participating in the due on sale remediation. It's their credit on the line. There's really no blame or fault to the investor buyer who has the property, and even still, the bank is not doing anything about it. They threatened, but they're not really willing to pursue. That's not always true, but ignoring it technically worked. They haven't shut off payments. That's also possible as a valid strategy if your seller is deceased. If nobody's credit can be hurt, this is a safe, ethical option to test and see if the bank really means business. If they move to foreclosure, then you can go back to one of the other strategies.
Okay.
Sometimes they will let the deal go or let the issue go if you talk to them. This would be with smaller banks, but if you talk to them, show them your credibility, maybe even if you add a personal guarantee to it, they may be willing to just wheel and deal and get it resolved. You can assume the loan in some cases. You can deed it back to the seller. That's how we technically comply with what they require. And then we look at, can we do a lease with an option to purchase? Can we do a master lease with no option, but then you keep all the benefits all the way down? Can you do a contract for deed? Some states that works, other states it doesn't. Can we put it into a trust and then sell the beneficial interest? My goal is to find a way to technically comply with what the bank's requirements are while
Okay.
still achieving the results that we wanted in the first place.
So how, I guess a follow-up question is, how often do the banks really check on this when you have these sub two deals?
Yep. I don't think they check on it very often. I have heard of a couple of servicers that are really a lot more aggressive. And by a lot more aggressive, they're not even calling a significant percentage of loans due that I'm aware of. So Rocket Mortgage is one of the ones that's more dangerous right now. It's a higher risk. Credit unions care a lot more than other banks. So the smaller the bank, the more risky it is. And then Rocket Mortgage are the two main ones that I'm concerned about right now. That said, I close 30 to 50 transactions a month in my TC business, and less than three. I don't think it's even hit three at this point of our transactions have been called due. That said, I've fixed upwards of 15 to 20. And I'm in that range right now of fixes, but not all of those came from my company. So, of the thousands of transactions happening, it's a handful that get called, and we haven't failed to resolve it yet. So, I'm looking at less than 1% of loans getting called due.
Okay.
But there are things you can do to be prepared if it's a major concern for you. And it shouldn't be willy-nilly dismissive thing about due on sale. It is a concern, and it can hurt you, especially if you overpay for the house to buy that rate. It's going to be a lot more risky, your resolution, and you don't have the option of selling it off and just not losing money, right? You're going to lose money if you have to sell it in order to satisfy that demand of the bank. So knowing that if you can force some equity into it and list it on the MLS, that's a good exit strategy as a fallback plan if they
Okay.
accelerate.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Good to see you. Rob Howdigy, you're on with Caleb Christopher.
Hey, Caleb, appreciate your time today. This is also brand new to me. So, you really hit, it's really interesting. You talked about a promissory note. I mean, that's only as good as, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's only as good as the vetting you're going to be doing with the person you're doing business with, correct?
Yes.
I mean, because, yeah, that I just want the understanding there because I mean, really, it's not,
Well, okay.
I
So
mean,
when
it's
I
not going
came
to
into
bind you.
things, that's right. When I came into things, people weren't even executing promissory notes. All they had for these naked sub two deals, as I call it, all they had in place was the purchase contract and the sub two disclosure. So it's clear if you had to take it to court, it's clear that the buyer's intention is to take over payments on the mortgage. But I mean, the burden is really on the seller if there's a problem to go chase it down in court, which is going to cost thousands of dollars and months worth of time. Meanwhile, their credit's getting smashed on the rocks. So I don't like that at all. The next step up was a promise to pay mortgage. And that's a document that I started including in these naked sub twos as we were helping people just take over the loan sub two. That way, at least it's also formally written as something that's much easier to take to court. And you could use that to petition a judge to grant you a foreclosure for non-payment of that promissory note. It just happened to not be secured by the property. And so how you really fix that, is going to be a note with a mortgage or deed of trust. Remember, the mortgage gives the person the right to foreclose. So Rob, if I'm your buyer, you're going to say, I'm going to sell you this house with my loan in place, but you're going to sign a wraparound promissory note and a wraparound mortgage and give me that mortgage. So then, Rob, you can foreclose on me if I don't pay. So that's the next step up. At this point, it's the ethical option. It's the most ethical way to do these deals because we give the seller a well-defined legal path to not taking the house back is the wrong word to say, to take it to foreclosure, in which they would likely be able to regain
No,
possession.
I mean, end of the day, it just secures all parties' peace of mind, right?
Yep, that's the right way to do it.
Well, that's awesome, man. I mean, I really appreciate this topic and your time today.
Absolutely, it's all I do.
Thank you.
This is all we do.
Thank you.
All right on,
Rob,
bro. Thank you.
Rob, is it okay Caleb, is it okay if I connect Rob to you later on?
Sure.
He's just been a great guy, really participated in the group. I'd love to make the personal introduction so you guys can get acquainted.
No, I appreciate you. Thanks.
Awesome,
Talk
brother.
to you soon, Caleb.
Kevin Doshna, you're on with Caleb Christopher. What's your question?
Hey, thank you, JJ, for having me on. Caleb, hello, welcome. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I had a question about, I got a few. One thing I kind of don't really have a clear understanding of is deeding the property back to the seller. My fear with doing something like that would be, the seller can still get liens or judgments now against that property since they're the deed holder. Is that correct?
You mean for like due on sale remediation if you deed it back to the seller?
Correct. Yeah. So if you get due on sale and then you deed it back to the seller and then do like a master lease or a lease option, now the original seller has the property's deed again. And if they were to get a judgment or a lien placed on the property, in theory, you bought the property, it's your house.
Yep.
But now they're getting a lien placed on that property. Is that possible? That's
Absolutely.
sort of a risk? Okay.
It is. And
That's
guess what
kinda
else
what I
is a
thought.
risk? That all your wholesaler buddies are going to see John Smith as the owner of record again, and they're going to start calling and texting him, making cash offers on that house, which you may own on the back end, or you may have the rights to purchase. And if he seems to be the less reputable type, he may be willing to accept a cash offer and go close on that house again and take the cash and leave you up a bad creek. So yes, that is a risk, and if and when we get into one of these due on sale remediations, we talk through all of that stuff. What's your comfort level with this? Do you have a relationship with the person? Do you feel problems? Which of the 10 resolution types is the best fit for you, given the people involved, the state, your long-term plans, etc. A lot of times we can do a deed from the seller back to you and just go unrecorded. It's still, I mean, technically it's a legal deed, but is a title company going to discover that? No. So there's additional protections we'll put in place, but it's not bulletproof.
Okay, great. Yeah, that kind of that was kind of what I was thinking, but I wasn't sure if maybe I was missing a point somewhere.
No, you're right on track. So ideally we avoid due on sale in the first place, but if life gets pretty hard, then you've got some tough decisions to make, and my goal is to help you make informed decisions. And if you were the person, you're my client, so you get the most direct advice. I always want people fully informed. That's just one of my tenets of how I do business. But that starts with the client, and they get to make decisions. They have the fullest set of information, and then when we pick a path to move forward, everybody understands the implications of that.
Okay, great. I kind of had a follow-up question.
Sure.
As far as for triggering due on sale, having an escrow account on the mortgage that then becomes negative by either like an insurance increase or property tax increase, is that a risk for having the due on sale called because that escrow account, because it gets to a negative point?
No, it's pretty routine for those. They'll have a minimum balance. So what he's talking about, guys, is what I call the impounds account. It's when we're talking about closing on a property, escrow can be used in multiple ways. So escrow is like where you drop funds and earnest money deposit and all this stuff. So I will refer to the impounds account as the taxes and insurance, which he's talking about. And if the taxes and insurance balance gets below zero, right? If they pay an insurance bill that was higher than expected, or a tax bill that was higher than expected, which generally does happen after you buy a house subject to, because when ownership changes, tax rules are reassessed and insurance goes up and things like that. So then your monthly mortgage payment of $2,000 ends up being less than what it really should be, $2,100 or whatever, to cover the increase. Then you're going to be underpaying. Now you're paying what the mortgage company says to pay, but when they see the bill come in and they pay that for the taxes and insurance, they're going to say, hey, FYI, I've received these multiple times on my own mortgages. Hey, it turns out there's a negative escrow balance. We're going to increase your payment from $2,000 to $2,200 to make up for the difference of the shortage and to cover the new monthly rates. So it's routine, it's automated. I don't think a real direct person is like inspecting every one of those and saying, this one's short pay, I better look for a due on sale. It's normal to just for taxes and insurance to go up.
Big Mike, you are on with Caleb Christopher.
Awesome. So my question is about insurance. I've heard many different timelines on how long to wait before you transfer insurance. Is that depending on state? Or is there a different timeline?
No, I'll give you guys a link to a page. I have a flow chart showing what to do there, but you definitely need new insurance. If title transfers, you need new insurance in the name of the insured. I remember fighting this battle in the comments section in Facebook groups, like, you guys cannot leave the seller's insurance in place. That's not insured anymore. So you can leave the seller's insurance in place if you want to pay for double insurance, but the policy will not be usable. Okay, so you do need the new insurance policy at closing when you buy a house subject to. It's just, do you want to swap it out with the mortgage company and let them know that's the different policy? That's the question. Some people, I know a guy who was paying 30 pairs he had 30 sub-2 houses and he just kept double insurance on all of them. He's paying $5,000 a month in unnecessary insurance for the sake of reducing risk of due on sale.
Wow, okay.
James says, can't you be added to the policy as additional insured? No. A bank, not if title transfers. Now, if I'm buying on a contract for deed and the ownership of the house never legally changes, the legal title stays, then yeah, we can play that game and just add me as additional insured, and I'll take an assignment of insurance proceeds letter that's notarized from the seller. And basically, I take control and essentially ownership in every respect except legal title. And then I can also make insurance claims. So in that case, yes, that's possible. But then again, we're switching the policy from an owner-occupant to a landlord policy. And so, no, I can't be added to an owner-occupant policy. It's going to be a new policy anyways. You see, it's almost always a new policy.
Okay. And I have a question on the services that you provide. Um, do you offer underwriting for title companies that want to go creative?
For title companies?
Yeah, my wife works at a title company that wants to go creative, but they need an underwriter. Does
Oh,
you or your team do something like that?
no, but message me after and let's talk about that. I'm starting a title company in Colorado right now. And we're going to focus on creative deals because there's been so much fallout on creative deals in Colorado.
There you go.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Big Mike. Yeah, we will definitely connect you to Caleb. My Daniel, you are on with Caleb Christopher. What's your question?
Hey JJ, hey Caleb, how are we doing?
Wonderful.
That's beautiful. You were talking to Ann and you said something about having a deceased seller. I wanted to see if you had like an example that you could tell us about that. And the rest of my questions I can wait for later.
Sure. I don't remember names very well at all. So, but I know I've dealt with it several times where there's been a deceased seller. People have come to me when they find out a seller died and they're like, what now? I'm like, don't say or do anything. Just pay normal, right? If they notice and if they care, they might look into it. If you're buying a house from an elderly person who has a loan, I would consider putting that in a trust.
Okay.
Specifically for the reason of estate planning, setting up the estate plan, and then selling the beneficial interest to you. It looks and feels more normal. Again, all we can do is hide and disguise ourselves. We can't actually stop the due on sale from happening if they take a look and if they notice.
Okay.
So the trust makes it a little sneakier. But if a seller dies, their family has the right to just continue making payments and then figure out who to deed it to as long as it's within the family. That wouldn't be a violation of due on sale. But if you're an investor owner, the due on sale has been violated.
Thank you.
I need a t-shirt that just says violator.
Violator.
I need that too.
Bank violator. Let's get a little more clear. People might not take it very well. Bank violator.
Bank violation.
Yeah, that Spawn reference may not go well with some people.
Spawn? Like the movie?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't watch it.
Oh my goodness, never mind.
Cool. So, no, great information today. Absolutely phenomenal. For those that may want to connect with you later on, whether they're on this call or watching on YouTube weeks and months down the line, I wanted to ask you about your socials and the best way to reach you. Is it MySpace? Is it Snapchat? Do you use Facebook at all?
I use Facebook daily.
I'm going to say, guys, if you're on the call right now, live or watching, whatever, if you're going to send anyone a friend request, I always send the message, introduce yourself, tell the person how you came to know them. Hey, I saw you on JJ's, interview on the Zoom call. And my name is, I've sent you a friend request. You got to let the person know that, guys. I've sent you a friend request. Can you please accept it? I'd love to talk to you on the phone sometime. Here's my number. Always volunteer your number. And then say what's the best way to reach you. Is it your Calendly link? Is it whatever? They may give you a link to schedule a call, but this is your Facebook page.
It is. I just got done with Effie's podcast this week, and I'll tell you what, I really appreciate that she makes those posts and shares them. Saves me a lot of editing time.
There you go. Yeah, we should have ours up not too long of a time period. So in addition to this, do you do Instagram?
I do. That's where I'm more active with posting helpful content. Is right there.
So guys, if you're on the call, guys, please follow him on Instagram. Please send him a message. Just let him know that you're on the call. Again, is F Caleb Christopher. That's his handle.
Yeah, my legal first name is Frederick. There's the F. F Caleb Christopher.
There you go. And then you have a website.
I do. CreativeTC.io. And did you guys know that I have a virtual office that runs all day, every day? Don't click it right now, but in the top right corner is a button. You could join a live Zoom right there, and it would pop into a Zoom just like this during, Central Time, 9 to 5. And you can talk to my team with any questions you've got. So like if you've got the bankruptcy or deceased person question or any of those things, pop in, say, hey, I've got a pending deal. I'd like to understand what are my risks here? How do I get this thing under contract? We're here to help you.
There you go. And then you've got some things here, assistance with different types of actions that relate to TC activity. Look like you've got some testimonials here.
Yeah, that thing's out of date. We've got 200 reviews now, all 5 stars.
So
we have wholesalers and realtors using my website for credibility with sellers and when making offers. They'll say, hey, I'm working with these guys. They've got the reviews, look at their blog, read the articles, borrow my credibility to go get deals, you guys.
There you go. Yeah, I would love to continue to chat with you more about us combining opportunities with what I'm doing, with what you're doing. But if you guys are on the call today, please uh, follow him on Instagram. If you like to connect, Facebook is one of the venues you can reach out to him. And of course, if you're looking for any kind of TC assistance or have questions, feel free to go to his website, which is creativetc.io. So my last question for you. My group's a networking group, and I'm always talking about the importance of building relationships, being visible, leveraging social media, and networking. You are a very successful real estate investor who is, I'll say, exploded within the landscape of the last handful of years, particularly through the Sub2 community, one of the rising stars, not the celestial stars in the Sub2 community. Um, there's so many communities today, such as Sub2, where there are people coming every single day to these educational programs, which means if you don't have a Facebook page, join Facebook, join our Facebook community so that you can network. What is the importance today of having social media presence, of using that so that we can benefit our business, ideally through relationships and being visible? But I talk about it all the time, but coming from someone like yourself, how important is it to network and use social media to build one's business, whether they're new or say they're even experienced, but they're coming to social media for the first time?
JJ, I have a marketing budget this year. I've never had one before. My marketing budget this year has gone all the way up to $2,000. The rest of everything that comes in, my entire business runs with multiple employees and 30 to 50 transactions per month from my Facebook interactions with people. That's it. Facebook and Instagram, and more Facebook than anything else because I can add like detailed comments. It is 100% the critical lifeblood of our business. It is where we get our leads and interact with people.
There you go. There you go. Uh, you are, I love hearing it come from people like yourself because you guys are in the trenches, you're doing the deal. Everybody from various fields of expertise, but it's common throughout about the need to be visible, the need to let people know who we are.
Can I quote Grant Cardone?
Yeah.
I normally don't, but he also says this thing: best known beats best. Best known beats best. And I needed to learn that so badly because I went and set out to be the best at everything, and I did not do a good job of being the best known. I got some of the best known stuff by default just by being one of the early adopters and promoters, but I could have, should have spent more money and time and effort engaging with people, building relationships, finding ways to do deals, and spending money on actual marketing so that I would also be best known.
Well, if it's any consolation, you're right up there with the best known, that's for sure, particularly within your field.
Yeah.
Um, I was going to say it at the end of the call, I mean, beginning of the call, but I'll say it now. Guys, what we do as investors when we join any education community is valuable. We want to learn everything that's important, whether it's the education, the actual curriculum, the Zoom calls, the YouTube, any coaching that may be available, any online courses such as, Kajabi, Discord, the various things that can allow us some instruction. All that's valuable. But the real gold for what we do as investors, the real gold we acquire are the relationships we make with successful people. And that comes by making yourself known. Um, I love me some Caleb Christopher, guys. I was way visible on the landscape when I was just brand spanking new to Sub2. I remember reaching him out in the beginning, and I had to make myself known because he's busy. And but now we become friends, and there's no greater value, no greater gold than having friends that are intelligent, successful, in Caleb's case, good looking, uh, but just quality people, and that's the biggest gold you can get. But that comes really by making yourself visible and building relationships and being genuine about that and being real. Because you're not going to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. They'll see what you're about, and either you're real or you're not. And with that, Caleb, I just want to really sincerely thank you again for coming back on, being a guest speaker again, and look forward to where we get you out to California, go to a sporting event or something. maybe the kids might have to be a couple years older, or bring the older ones, the younger ones. But
Yeah. Well, we got the RV, so we can make a trip.
there you go. Hey guys, if you're watching on YouTube right now, please like Caleb's video. Please hit the like button. Please put in the comment section what your takeaways were, what you found informative. If there's anything that I could do to provide a better product for you, someone you'd like to see as a guest speaker, please put stuff in the comment section. Again, if you want to connect with Caleb, he does have Facebook. This is his Facebook page. And we have his website. So if you guys want to connect with me, we got this turquoise looking QR code, takes you to my website. Please hit the posting register now button. If you want to subscribe to the YouTube and see Caleb's video and all the other great guest speakers we have, please scan the purple QR code, subscribe to the YouTube channel now. Caleb, for anyone else watching on social media, we'll see them off in the future of social networking and Facebook and Instagram, right? There you go.
Yep.
Guys, if you're on the call, don't go away. We're going to have a couple more minutes with Caleb just so we can give him more personal goodbye. And everybody else, we'll see you down the line, guys.